Before we start this video, just wanted to let you know that Ghost is not soap. I've seen hundreds of tweets talking about this, and based on subtitles, Price does call Ghost Simon, but due to cognitive bias, people think he said soap. One person heard it that way and then spread it over on social media, and then everybody else started hearing that as well, which has happened many times in the past over on social media. We have an Infinity Ward developer also confirming that he said Simon and not soap, and I don't think they'll introduce soap in any of these seasons. I think they'll save it for the sequel to this Modern Warfare game. And also, speaking of soap, be sure to wash your hands, stay clean, and enjoy the video. What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about an exclusive PlayStation DLC that was just added to Season 3 of Modern Warfare. Now, if you missed any of my coverage from yesterday, I will have some links down below in the description, and there's a pinned comment. YouTube, of course, didn't publish those videos correctly, so I'm sure you missed them. We have an official reaction to the Season 3 trailer, and the video showcasing all three of the new multiplayer maps that were also added to the game. Now, also be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and have bell notifications on to ensure you never miss an upload, because the beer virus is really causing YouTube to crash financially right now, and it is of course becoming harder and harder for content creators to keep doing this full time. Now, the first thing you got access to if you're a PlayStation Plus member is the Season 3 Combat Pack. Now, they actually added in a Combat Pack for Season 2, which gave you access to the Vladimir Putin operator and some other in-game bonuses, and it seems like it's going to be a reoccurring theme every season, where if you're a PS Plus member, you can head over to the PSN store, scroll down on the Modern Warfare tab, and you'll find your free Combat Pack. This new Combat Pack includes an epic operator skin for Wyatt, an epic blueprint for a sniper rifle and the pistol, an epic tactical knife, a new weapon charm, animated calling card, a rare spray, and a 60-minute double weapon XP token. So super cool bonuses. I'm getting some Last of Us vibes from this epic operator for Wyatt. Kind of seems like Joel a little bit from the story of Last of Us. So I do like how they go with a little theme in each of these combat packs, but I do wish the theme was a little more apparent in the actual season, since with Black Ops 4, with every operation, we had a very clear theme that was going, which affected all the cosmetics that were added to the game. But it seems like that's not what Infinity Ward's really going for with these seasons, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But in the background, you will see some gameplay of another PlayStation bonus that was added to Modern Warfare. Surprisingly, there is a little bit of support left for the Spec Ops. So I shit you not, they added in support for survival on one new map. Luckily, it's Shoot House, a map that a lot of people in the community do enjoy in this game, but as I've said a few times on stream before, I still don't understand why all of the multiplayer maps weren't added into survival. They must not have had enough time to make that happen, but I know with previous iterations of survival in the past, when the game released, survival was available on all of the multiplayer maps that were in the game. Doesn't seem like it's that much work to make that happen, but it's really seeming like Infinity Ward has no time to waste updating a mode that is regarded as extremely terrible. So I think what's happening here is, you know, as a form of an obligation, they had to add in something for survival, so they just picked one of the fan favorite maps in this game. As you guys know, Sony and Activision have a deal where survival, specifically as a mode, is a timed exclusive mode for a year. Xbox and PC won't be able to play survival in the new Modern Warfare until October 1st, 2020. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've said it so many times on stream before. Maybe if survival was available on all of the multiplayer maps in this game, more people would be inclined to play it, but it's just the structure of the mode too that plays horribly, and even with friends, I don't think you can make this enjoyable. But Shoe House is a pretty good map in the game, so I had a little bit of fun recording gameplay for this, but again, a timed exclusive to PlayStation, and it's really unfortunate that we're not seeing any more support for the special operations or any new Spec Ops missions of any sort, because originally the whole plan for this game was to further the narrative of the new rebooted timeline with Spec Ops. They would add in a bunch of Spec Ops DLC throughout the year, but it seems like they're deciding to go with, you know, continuing the story in Warzone instead, which I guess is fine, but even with the Season 3 trailer yesterday, I'm still a bit confused on what's going on, right? You know, we have the Ghost of Verdansk introduced in Season 2, and he asked Price to send him fighters he could trust. A nice setup for the Battle Royale, totally, right? But then the Season 3 intro is like, alright, Alex is back from the dead, he has a prosthetic leg, he's gonna team up with Ghost, and he says, let's get evil, whatever that means. I was hoping that the intro would show how Alex survived, but maybe they're saving that thread for the sequel to this game that's coming out in 2021 apparently. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but the story's kind of all over the place, and it reminds me me a bit of Blackout from Black Ops 4, where the story was kind of clear at the start. We had an idea roughly of what was going on, but then throughout the rest of the year, it kind of just fell apart, and there wasn't much story being told. At least with these seasons in Modern Warfare, we are getting these beautiful cinematic cutscenes, which explain a little bit more, but besides that, it's just becoming a bit unclear. Now, another thing too that I've been talking about with a couple of friends is that the Battle Royale really doesn't need a story, and I think that's an issue that Blackout really brought to the table, which is that, you know, you're gonna cross over Ether, Chaos, Campaign, Multiplayer, all these cool things, but then they're trying to tell a story with that too. It just seems like it's a bit of a mess to even try to do that, and almost isn't worth it. I mean, there needs to be things in these games which are just there for gameplay purposes. You don't need a story explanation for every little thing they add in, but I respect the decision, right? They want to continue the narrative of Campaign, and they were trying to do that with Spec Ops, but since that didn't work out too well, they kind of converted that into Warzone. They want to continue it that way, which I totally get, but if you're gonna do that, at least be competent with your intro cutscenes, at least make sense, tease the right things, explain the right things, but you know, that's just my opinion, of course. Now, in terms of the Battle Pass for Season 3, I brought this up a little bit yesterday too, I just don't see the point of it, and the fact that people could spend $150 to, you know, get every single tier right away is insane, dude. And again, you could just pay $10 to own the Battle Pass, but if you want to have every tier instantly, it's $150. Just imagine paying double the price of the game, actually almost triple the price of the game, just to get access to a bunch of cosmetic items that hold little to no value already, and then in the next season you have to worry about the new Battle Pass. But, you know, if you're a content creator, you can write it off on your taxes. I totally understand, but I just don't see the point in these Battle Passes, right? You get a cool operator skin and whatnot, but then besides that, there's really nothing else. You get the weapons for free anyway, so, you know, what is the point of a Battle Pass? But I get it. It's kind of just there for content. If you're interested in this game, you have something to grind for while you play, along with all the new missions and all the other cool things they were added in with the season. But, you know, with Black Ops 3 too, I was a huge collector. I have every single weapon in that game, and yeah, a bunch of money was spent on it, but at the very least, I was playing that game for 3 years, right? We had 3 full years of support for Black Ops 3, to where spending money was a little more worth it than doing it in another game, right? And with Call of Duty, right, with the whole yearly cycle, that's the big problem with grinding or spending money throughout an entire season, is that, you know, after a year's time, all of that is kind of irrelevant and you have a new game to worry about. So if you're a fan of that, definitely go for it. But with Black Ops 3, it's like, all right, at least there were 3 years of support for the game to where having all the weapons actually mattered, and I got my money's worth, right? But with like Black Ops 4, I have just about everything too, but there's a couple of Mastercrafts and other things I just didn't choose to buy. And I didn't go for Dark Matter and Multiplayer or Zombies either, because I'm like, well, if the game's not being supported for more than a year, what's actually the point? I'll just focus on the next game, and hopefully in Treyarch's next Call of Duty, there will be 3 years of support, just like we got with Black Ops 3, to where going for all these little things is a lot more worth it. But it does seem like Infinity Ward had a clear vision for their third mode in this game, and I think the honest start for that vision was to have some type of zombies experience that takes place in an open world setting. I have a video going over all those leaks down below in the description. That was unfortunately cut and turned into a open world Spec Ops experience, and even that would have been great and definitely would have had a replayability factor and some grinding in there, right? But then that wouldn't work because of frame rate issues and being rushed, so that turned into the Spec Ops we eventually got, but then that's where the replayability was lost, right? I think if any Call of Duty is going to have a third game mode that's going to be supported for an entire year, you have to have that grind factor in there, and Spec Ops just doesn't have that. So I think honestly the third mode of this game just turned into Warzone. Spec Ops almost became invisible, and the thing with Spec Ops 2 is that there's no reward for doing anything. At least you get an achievement for finishing all the special operations and whatnot. You know, you can level up weapons, I believe, but besides that, there's just no incentive to play. You know, if Spec Ops was still open world, I could definitely see people going in and replaying missions and enjoying that a little bit more often, but we just don't have that. And the thing too is, hopefully in Infinity Ward's next game, they either find their niche with the third game mode, or if they're going to bring back Spec Ops again, make it open world like they originally wanted to. I don't think they'll make a new Battle Royale, I just think they'll keep updating Warzone for the next few years, and especially when the next Modern Warfare comes out, they'll probably revamp Warzone with a new map, new weapons, new characters, all that good stuff. But when it comes to the third mode, if you're not going to do Extinction and you're not going to do a very different Zombies mode, then at least do some type of open open world experience like the Spec Ops. So I do believe, you know, when Spec Ops was on the table, you know, as their third mode, right, and they had their mindset on it, and they're like, we're gonna do open world, they also probably said, well, if we're gonna do all this work for this open world experience for Spec Ops, we'll also reuse the map for Battle Royale, which I think is perfect, you know, knocking out two birds with one stone. But you can see how that went south pretty quickly, right? They couldn't do open world for Spec Ops, so the map was just used for the Warzone Battle Royale. That is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments about what you guys think with this exclusive PlayStation Plus DLC. We have the Season 3 Combat Pack and access to survival on the map Shoot House. I'm sure more support will be added over the next couple of months for a few more multiplayer maps, just to keep up with that obligation that Sony and Activision currently have for the Modern Warfare community. But maybe when survival releases for Xbox and PC in the fall, maybe then they'll add support for every other multiplayer map in the game, or they might just not waste their time at all. We just don't know what's going to happen with the future of survival. But really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.